friends. Welcome to this episode of How to Church I Wish I Knew. I'm Kayli Freeman, and this is the second part to our two-part series on how I wish I knew how to make a more vital ministry. In this portion of the videos, we're going to look at what has historically worked for markers of attendance and membership and giving, and how those may not necessarily be the way to go for the future of our church so that we can be thriving into the future instead of dying off. We'll hear from some of our members who've come up with some new ways of looking at membership, and we'll see if this really can help us discover new ways on how to church. Join us, won't you?
We're smaller, but we are so much healthier. We're not a big congregation, but we're doing some amazing ministries. Membership is what you're registered in the books. Belonging is what you participate in and what you do at the church. And I think it makes a big difference as far as participation, as part of who you are within the church.
For me, when I hear the word membership, there's some type of requirement that's part of that equation. And for me, the belonging is just everyone. It's inclusive, and yet it has a piece of individual invitation. And for me, in the work that I do throughout my entire career as a spiritual teacher and now pastor, the individual is who I seek to connect with. So when we're working, whether in worship or events or classes or any type of activity at our church, I always want there to be a sense of individual invitation.
Membership typically comes with things that you need to be able to accomplish or do. So giving a certain amount potentially, or communing so many times a year, or participating in so many things. Whereas belonging is a sense of having community and having a place where you can come and be authentic to who you are and be accepted for who you are, and not have that checklist of things that you need to be a part of or need to do in order to be in a church or in a faith community.
Belonging has become part of the family. You're part of who we take care of, who we love, who we care for, who we watch over, who we nurture. Whether you give or whether you don't give makes no difference.
I think with everybody, you put the word member to it and people kind of step back, or they don't want to be a part of it, or they don't want to get involved because they don't want the commitment. Membership typically means commitment to something, even if that's not really the case. We're not, putting a parameter around, you have to be here X amount of days or X amount of Sundays a year to be considered a member. But I think membership limits what people are able or think that they're able to do.
I think the big part of what we wrestled with at Trinity was that we found that our membership seemed to be stagnant. And we couldn't understand why we couldn't increase numbers. And we started getting hung up on numbers. And we realized that really the numbers wasn't really what we were after. What we were after was participation. We were after people being inspired, people being really interested in being a part of something, not just membership. And so what happened at Trinity was a whole kind of transformation occurred, where we said, what we're going to do is we're going to change. We're actually going to change our bylaws. We changed our constitutional bylaws. We actually changed the way you are a member. And so we don't even call people members anymore. You're just part of the church. And the only thing that membership gives you at Trinity is a vote. Gives you a vote. That's it. Allows you to sit on consistory, and you get a discount if you rent Jubilee Hall. So those are the three things that membership gives you.
Membership has always been the way. Even when the Puritans left England, they left for a new way and new freedom to express their spiritual ideas in a free form. They became very member-oriented. And if you were not a member, your child could not be baptized, you could not vote. So the idea of membership is something that humans, I think, have always wanted. There's, again, as I mentioned earlier, there's some type of requirement, something that you've passed, something that you're good enough. And so the idea of membership has been with us for such a long time.
Membership really doesn't mean a whole lot at Trinity. It's being a part of the church, being a part of what we do there, being a part of Trinity means you're part of the community. And when I say part of the community, I mean not only the community of faith, but the part of the bigger community, the community of Bloomsburg and the community of Columbia County and the community of Pennsylvania and the community of our nation and world. It's much bigger than just our four walls. So membership really just doesn't mean as much at Trinity. It is the belonging to that family of faith, to be a participant in what we do, the ministries, the service, and that's what we really concentrate on.
That's a very, very big question. Let me first talk about the word vitality. So vitality, to be vibrant, to be vital, to be alive, to be growing, to be moving. We look at this time of year, it's the summertime right now, and we're looking at plants growing. We're looking at what helps a plant grow, what doesn't. It's season of growth. There's certain vegetables and fruits that show us themselves in May and June, and others that we have to wait till August and September. So there's a certain vitality and growth and process for fruits and vegetables and humans and churches. And the idea of vitality is really crucial. So even in the word invitation, there's a vitality in invitation. And in 2025, it seems to me that people do not want to be told what to do. They have never been wanting to be told what to do. We look at Jesus, who answered the young man who happened to come from a wealthy position of, "What shall I do to follow you?" And Jesus said to give everything up and come with me. And so was that an invitation or was that to be a member? It was an invitation. And so I think in today's world where people have this sense that they need some freedom from very strict dogma and very strict ways of behaving, and they need to be released from the idea that has been taught through the centuries that we are sinners, that we are not good enough, that is not helpful to people. It makes people feel weighed down. And with all the news from the world that we're inundated with all the challenges and difficulty and darkness, to be able to come to a church where they can feel lifted and hopeful, there's a sense of possibility, positivity, faith, hope, that even in the difficulties of life, there is hope, there is love, there is joy. I tell my people, one hand for the joy of life and one hand for the sorrow. And let's move with both hands. And so I think that the vitality of a church rests in helping people learn how to know their value, find their authentic voice, understand their difficulties, develop their gifts. And many times when we develop our gifts, some of the places where we have the difficulties, the fault lines will begin to shift and change.
I think it's difficult because, again, a lot of it goes back to our church's bylaws and constitutions. I know many congregations have it that you can't be on governing boards, whether it be a consistory or a council or what have you, if you're not a full-blown member or haven't been a actual member for so many years or months or what have you. And I think that when you put that stipulation on people, they'll come through your doors, but they're not going to want to participate as actively if you have it stated somewhere that you have to have this, big membership to be able to participate. And I think that in order to grow and in order to be vital congregations in this time, you need to kind of look at that and see if it's still working. And if it's not still working and we're not seeing people come through those doors, then maybe we need to look back at the things that need to be changed. So looking back at our constitutions and bylaws and changing the wording that, hey, if you don't necessarily have to be a member for 6 years before you join our consistory, or you don't have to go through the big process that it is to become a member, whatever that might look like. And I think that when we stop limiting what people can do because of what our rules say, it opens up the door for people to come in and participate in ways that they feel called to participate without limiting that.
I think this has been the biggest leap that Trinity has made by challenging some of the traditional ways of participation. And what we've done is the church went through this, was having some financial difficulties. And of course, the whole idea that everybody was talking about was, how do we increase our membership? How do we increase our numbers? And I said, that's not what we want to do. What we need to do is we need to have the community see us as a place that they want to be a part of. They want to come join, not join as members. They want to join as participants. Whether they ever sit in the pews or not is not what we need to worry about. We need them to participate in the ministries or the service that we're providing. So what the church decided to do was put together a task force. And we all came together and we put together a task force that decided, what were we going to do? We had to do some outside of the box thinking. So what we decided to do was we got together and we formed a new nonprofit. We actually took Cameron Trimble's ideas from what used to be Center for Progressive Renewal, which is now Convergence, and we actually implemented them. We made a new nonprofit that was separate from the church, and we decided to make the church a community center.
As we see things in a greater light and strengthen ourselves in other ways, other things follow. And so that's where I believe some of the vitality is. When Jesus came upon people, he did not focus on their faults or their illness. He healed them of that and helped them see their value and their possibility and their need to be part of something. And so I really feel very strongly that churches that can focus on the vitality of the people who walk in, even when they're brokenhearted, that the vitality is that they're loved, they're needed, they're valued, and that they will be embraced and they will be encouraged. And before we can ask those people to give of themselves, to build them up, and there'll be a natural flow.
One of our members happens to be a certified recovery specialist. This is somebody who was an addict, who is now sober, and she has been sober for 26 years. She went through training to become a peer specialist, so it's called a certified recovery specialist. And she counsels other people who are in addiction. And she said, if you really want to do something, as Cameron Trimble suggests, find something in your community that you don't have and support and supply it. So it's exactly what we did. She said, we don't have a drop-in center in Columbia County. What's a drop-in center? Well, a drop-in center is a place where people who are actively in addiction or families have a loved one in an active addiction can come. It's a safe place. No stigma, no judgment. It's a safe place for them to come to get resources, to find out how they can get into rehab, what resources are available to them, get harm reduction kits. They can talk to a CRS, and they can actually find ways in which to get out of their addiction and out of this snowball effect.
I'm trained as a chaplain, and the chaplain walks alongside each person in their journey, comes alongside and says, where are you? What have you experienced? And how can I assist you? May I walk with you? And so when I have, say, a Sunday service, I'm trying to offer understanding of the gospel and the Old Testament and Jesus' invitation in a spiritual application manner so that the people can take what I'm speaking to them about and apply it to their lives.
I think I don't know if I can pinpoint like one specific thing. I know that we have people who come all the time to our church and they get more involved than our people who've been members for, I don't know, their whole lives. They just want to be able to feel like they're a part of something bigger. And I think just allowing folks, membership or not, to join in on things and to help lead programming or help lead outreach or participating in that kind of stuff kind of bridges that gap a little bit. And it lets people feel like they are involved in something a lot bigger than, we can probably even imagine. And that's ultimately what some people want.
We've opened up the Jubilee Hall for birthday party rentals, for bridal party rentals. We've opened it up to other nonprofits. We have Kids Peace has done trainings there. CMSU has done trainings there. We've used our live streaming to be able to do trainings for different corporate organizations who want to do trainings there. So we're opening up our live streaming and our recording, our Zoom recordings, to be able to do and help other organizations to use our facilities.
I do a lot of youth ministry, and I had one of my former youth, who's now a young adult, come to a high school gathering and flat out told me that she didn't know if she believed in this idea or this concept of God. And I looked at her and I said, well, then why are you here? And she goes, because I belong and I feel like a community is here and that I can do something.
It's for them. It's for them. I don't do the worship just for me. I do it for God and for them.
We're not only doing it just for Trinity, but we're actually using it to work ecumenically with other denominations and to be able to use this nonprofit to address those social justice concerns in our community and in our world or nation to actually help those who need it.
I think just being opening and inviting and welcoming to people who step in our doors is the first step. It's not a big creative thing, but it's a genuine thing.